Welcome to the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, we always get started a little bit early right here on YouTube Live. Of course, I'm Ray. Matt and Tom Nutty cannot make it tonight. Tom Nutty is off doing a couple of Little League games. I asked him, I was like, aren't you a little old to have two Little League games back to back? And he's like, no, dumbass, I'm coaching them. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was like one of those things where a kid keeps failing class. And like, it's like all these like, 12-year-olds and one like 27-year-old that like just failing over and over again.
Well, you know what this means though? That means that all the respectable parents couldn't do it. So they're like, don't these two kids have a parent? They're like, oh yeah, that guy Tom.
Yeah. Man, what's that guy Nutty? It's something like why do we have to have Tom Nutty, dude?
The dad that hangs out by the fences and smokes and just creeps all the kids out. Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. And of course, Ashley Pontius, local comedian, one of the hosts of the Laugh Finder podcast and the Quality Time podcast, joining us right here. We haven't seen you since the HH Pod Rumble, which itself was chaos. And I'm still shocked how successful that ended up becoming. I thought it was going to be unorganized chaos, but I think the games broke a lot of it up. So
yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, make sure I've been posting a lot of clips from it. Go check it out. It was a blast. Actually, the championship belt that Johnny Goodluck, he was the last one standing because a lot of people had to leave out and there was a format. I actually got a championship belt that's in the process of being made. And it's being sent to Johnny Goodluck. So, that was a cool little thing I wanted to do. So every milestone episode, at least once a year, like if it's like, 150, if it's next year, then, we'll do another one and so on and so forth. Kind of like a traditional type thing, which.
Yeah.
So what's been going on with you? Of course, you said you're not home. So are you traveling for comedy or what?
Well, it's always a little bit of both. So I don't know how much the listeners, since I'm kind of an inconsistent guest, but for the listeners who may know, I did quit my job 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I've now switched to doing full-time animal care. So listeners, if you live in the DMV, I'm a professional pet sitter and caregiver, doing that for the last 10 years. So right now I'm doing that full-time with comedy. So I do have a show tomorrow, June the 4th. I'm headlining in Owings Mills. I'm doing a show there. But yeah, just keeping busy, trying to expand my reach a bit. My horror page has been expanding, which is great. But no, the Rumble was fantastic. Eric Woodworth was there, Tommy, Justin, it was great.
It was tons of fun, and we got to definitely do it again. And that's the thing, once we build, and of course, by the time we do it again, we're going to have new batches of guests. So I want to bring back old guests, new guests, old guests, new guests.
Yeah. Not overwhelmed, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Everybody sat there and they're like, dude, you are absolutely fucking insane for attempting this. And of course, not all 30 people showed up. People forgot or their shit came up. And
right.
We ended up with about 20 maybe in total.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's going to be over talking. But now, the games broke it up. So I was glad that we did that game format and, everything flowed, quite well. And,
Yeah. No, it was great. I think everybody was pretty good about trying to give each other the floor. And yeah, everybody, God, it's this time of year, it's always hard too. Because it's if it's not shows, it's family stuff, it's sports stuff for people who have kids. It just never ends with the schedule being full. I don't know. I don't even have kids. I don't even know how to keep my schedule organized. So,
and of course, our featured guest tonight is Justice Jardin. Of course, she's a feature entertainer dancer. She might be a little bit late. She told me that she's on her way to one of her performances, and she's in massive traffic. And this was an hour and a half ago when she sent me that. So I don't know exactly where she's performing, but once she gets in, what we'll blow through our games first. Then that way, in case she can't hang out long, we'll get through all that first. And it's just it's been busy on our hand, and of course with the dog sitting. Have you had any bastard pets that you're sitting there, you're just kind of you little son of a bitch, why are you doing?
No, but it's funny because everything's fine, but for the first time in 10 years, about 3 weeks ago, I had to take a dog to the ER. Which has never happened before, but you're always prepared for it. So like I got a new client, very sweet dog. I got 2 retrievers for the same family. One is only 2 in like peak health.
Okay.
The other one is like 15 years old.
Ooh, yeah.
And they're like, hey, so like she's riddled with tumors and like all these medications, and be like, I hope she doesn't die on you. And I'm like,
Great.
So then
Thank you.
day 3 or 4, she starts throwing up in her sleep.
Oh no.
And I'm like, oh my God, am I gonna have to put this dog down while they're on vacation? Like the worst, your mind goes like the worst thing.
Like, how does that happen though? Like you need to put their dog down. So is it one of those things where, you have to, like, do you pay that out or do they pay you for?
No. So I always set it up with clients ahead of time to like, give me the name of your normal vet, like address, phone number, and also an emergency vet nearby. Now, thankfully I was able to get an emergency appointment at their regular vet.
Yeah.
But normally what I do is either have a client leave their credit card behind, or a credit card, or I make sure that they have a good relationship with their vet and that they know them well enough to be like, hey, can you send them an invoice? Because I don't pay for people's vet.
Yeah.
Because and I know this sounds terrible, but like sometimes I've even had to chase people down for regular payment. Like making sure they pay me. Yeah. Making sure they pay me after I watch the vet. So I don't trust people with like a $900, vet bill and be like, by the way, I still need you to pay me back for that. And then, for those of you that don't know, cause this is kind of standard, like say you were to try to like stiff me with a $900 vet bill. I come back to your house and I kill your pet.
And of course, our guest, Justice Jardin, she joined us. And of course, she joined us right as you were saying, you stiffed me for the dog, right at the right time.
Sorry.
So, and of course, you said you were stuck in massive traffic. So where were you traveling to?
I was driving to Toronto.
Oh, all right.
So I paid $65 to drive on a highway just so I could be here on time.
Oh God. You have to do that.
Okay, well, I am professional. When I say I'm gonna be somewhere and do something, I'm gonna.
Now, of course you have your show tonight. And what is your current theme? Like, I know you always do themes. Of course, shout out to Janine Jericho. She's been on our show before. You guys do the Fire and Ice show.
Yeah, that's my best friend in like the world. So. Aww.
Now, what kind of theme does your show have? A certain theme that's going on right now?
Right now, we're all into the Ghostbusters.
I love it.
Afterlife just came out, so we usually do. If I'm doing a solo act, then I'll come out as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and then but if we're doing the Fire and Ice duo, then she would be Stay Puft, and I would be Slimer.
Now, do you actually do any sliming when you're Slimer? How does that work? How do you?
I usually have like a big old thing of like glow in the dark paint that's kind of like watered down a little bit. So we don't use actual slime, but we do use some like water-based paint. So
now, do you fire it, or do you like get into a Slimer costume? Like, I'm hoping that like it's a Slimer costume, but it's like all spongy and like you run as fast as you can and it just leaves.
We have like strap-ons and stuff like that, so that when we like shake it, go skeet skeet skeet, and it's all green.
I actually seen something a lot like that before. It was a Ninja Turtles porn parody, and it was all 4 turtles and April O'Neil, and for some reason they had green jizz, and I was like, wait a minute, like, are you and then I got fascinated with it. I was half tempted to Google, do turtles have green jizz, because I was super fascinated. I'm like, are they being realist about this, or is this just being like some sort of
I think we're just assuming. I think the only one that would have green jizz would be Slimer.
Yes,
because he's made out of slime. So
do you do the whole thing where, of course, we know in the classic movie where Peter's standing in the hallway and he has the microphone and Slimer's just like, and he's just screaming in the hallway?
I wish
that exact scene.
I wish I wanted to. I was telling Janine that I wanted to do like a mix of the like Dirty Dancing in with that, so that I would be like Slimer, and then she would just like hoof me up, and then I would be like,
you just rain down.
That would have just been epic. I mean, because she can lift me up because I weigh like 100 pounds soaking wet. So it would be like nothing. I mean, she already lifts me up in the duo anyways. So when we do our acro, so
well, we know what you could call it. You could call it time of my afterlife. So.
That's clever. I like that. Very clever.
And Matt's not here, so I can't tell Matt about this. But this week, I got to find it. I ended up getting a weird email to the Happy Hour podcast email thing, and it was from some guy, and he messaged me, and he was like, "I understand you guys were at one time interested in all aspects of mass shooters / active shooters." I was like, "What?" Like, okay. And he was like, in the event that you still are or are interested in American police firearms training, which that would be kind of fucking cool, like, but no thank you, or use of force, etc., I would be interested in speaking to you. And then he said how he's a 20-year former police officer, and says what his stuff are. He used to be a crisis negotiator, and he said, "Be forewarned, I do live in southern West Virginia." What? And then he was like, I didn't work in a large department. So that means you didn't work in a department, most likely. You're just sending me this. And he said the advantage to be able to cross-pollinate skills and deep exposure to every facet of the job, it reflects staffing level, blah, blah. And then he said something about living in the UK. And I'm just sitting there and I'm confused. And I messaged him back and I was like, "Hello, thank you for the response. We have never had an interest in mass shooters / active shooters and would care not to talk about such a touchy subject on our show." Right. And I was like, "Thank you, Ray, the Happy Hour podcast." So he messages back and he's like, "I apologize. I must have misinterpreted a remark you made on one of your podcasts." So I was starting to think, and it was actually a couple of weeks ago when we had Jocelyn Jane on. We were talking about the violence in Baltimore City, and someone recently had a machine gun and shot it off downtown or whatever. But all we said was he shot it off and a couple of people got hurt, and that was it. And it's like, that's what you get. You get that we're interested in that. And he was like, "I also consulted in other YouTube content, blah, blah, blah. I will remain available if you guys develop any interest in the real world of police work in America." No, thank you. Like, I don't need to know any of that. And then I was like, if you would like to let me know what episode you're talking about and what guests, etc., I would love to know. Fact is, we don't talk about any politics or real world stuff on the podcast. If you actually watch a good amount of our content, we almost never talk about that stuff. If you watch it, you would see that we're strictly mature audiences only. And then like we went back a couple more times, and then he was like, his name escapes me at the moment. It was a retired Met detective promoting his book and working an unsolved double murder in his retirement. I was like, I've never had that guest on our show. Like, what
he
the hell
sounds insane.
Yeah.
I think he's a little few fresh short of a happy meal.
Yeah. And part of me though is thinking I should bring this guy on the show. Like, I really should, because he's insane.
No, you should not. You should not.
It takes one idiot to inflame other idiots. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
and then he was like, "I'm sorry, Google, period, look out for murder in the mountains." So what I am going to do, because I have not looked that up yet, I wanted to wait until tonight, I am going to Google murder in the mountains and see what comes up with that, because I'm thinking that this guy might be confessing to a murder he may have committed.
I was going to say, that's all we need on the local news is it's like a local podcast in league with Al Qaeda. Like,
oh my God, it's like, that's the kind of luck, right?
Yeah, like here, let's see. So murder in the mountains. Here we go. Here's murder in the mountains. Okay, so it's a book. Okay. Anatomy of a murder in the mountains. So what episode? So it's a podcast. So So wait.
So maybe he thought you were
Joe Oberholzer.
Yeah. Did he think you were another podcast?
I don't know. I really don't know. I was like, dude, we have a lot of chicks with big tits on the show. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand what you're talking about. But yeah, I was so fucked up and blown away about it, because I was like, if you want to take us to a gun range and have us shoot guns, okay, cool. Like,
I still wouldn't go.
I mean, I was half tempted to just give him Tommy Sambazo's contact info and just go, "This is the guy you want to speak to."
No. But you know what? it combines both worlds right now for me. It's so funny you're bringing this up because I too recently got a message, but I think this is one that maybe Justice can understand more. I got a message on my horror page the other day that says, "You have great tits. You're a grade A horror." And I was like, thank you. I don't know you.
Did you say on your horror page or your whore page?
I don't know this man, but he called me a whore. And I was like, thank you. Okay.
Do I take this as a compliment or
yeah? I was
take it as a
thank
compliment?
you for this weird. I've never been called a whore and also been told I have great tits at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a double compliment at this point.
Yeah. Hey, and then the next email is, I just want to dress up like Slimer and just slime down.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
No, again, mine's more of a combo. It's more like, I'm the gatekeeper and I'm just like, there is no Dana, only Zol.
and then those weird dogs that turn into rocks.
Okay, my dog actually looks like that. That's what's so ridiculous.
Really?
And he'll be like hiding in the corner and it'd be like dark and all you see is his eyes. And his name is Kingsley. So every time I see him do that, it's like, there is no Kingsley, only Zool.
No, is he a bully?
Crazy.
Like
ears and everything. It's so wonky.
Is he a pity?
He's a pit bull lab.
We have a lab / pit mix, but we're starting to think that she might actually be Rottweiler pit mix because like we haven't figured it out because she's not the size of a lab, but she's not the size of a pit bull. She's like more medium size, but she has the face of a lab and the characteristics of a pit bull. So we're not sure. We're just kind of, and then our other dog who recently passed away like a month or so ago, what the hell did my wife look up? She looked up something. I think he was a Min Pin and Rottweiler mix because he like had like all those characteristics, but he also was a medium size, and we couldn't figure out what they were. And getting a DNA test basically like that's what that dog is right there. We're gonna point at that dog and say that's what that dog is.
Yeah.
So
I just
my
love
dog's legal where I'm from, so our vets just pretty much put him as a Labrador.
Yeah.
We can't have pit bulls where I'm from, so
yeah.
So
ours. We were able in Baltimore County, if you have a pit bull, you're able to get them fixed for free. And we went years, I think probably about like 5 years without having her fixed. And then eventually once she got older, like we were like, well, we want to eventually have her come out of her cage, because we crated them every day. And we were afraid they were going to get stuck while we were at work. So when she was 5, eventually we got her fixed. And that was the best thing we ever did because their cages have been in the shed ever since then. And they never had to go back in them ever again. But and like, and also, is there anything that you guys see on an everyday basis, like just something and it's convenient, but it annoys the shit out of you? Like, is there anything that's like an everyday use thing that's convenient that annoys the shit out of you?
Facebook.
Okay. Like mine is those motion sensor anything. Like you walk into a bathroom and everything is fucking motion sensor. Like I can understand the toilets. Okay, cool. Those things are clutch. As soon as you stand up, they flush. You're like, okay, I'm good. But there have been times that I have went into a Wawa and I have fucking wiped my hands underneath that sink 16 or 17 times. And I'm sitting there looking around because about 2 minutes has bypassed. And I'm just sitting there thinking I'm an idiot. And I'm like, is the water turned off? Is it what? And then finally you pull your hand by and it turns on and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes. Well, you know what else I hate? I hate when I wave my boobs in front of a man and nothing happens. And I'm like, these are apparently good to bots online. I don't know.
Like you wave him and he just sits there just stone faced, just
like even right now I'm not wearing a bra. It's like, come on, let's see what happens. Come on, Ray, come on.
And Justice, so now of course you've done a lot of shows. What's some of the wilder things you've ever seen? Like, have you ever looked out in the crowd? Now of course I do wrestling. Ashley, of course you do comedy. We sit there, we see the crowd all the time. And Justice, you see the crowd all the time. So is it the kind of thing where you've ever looked out and you saw something while you're performing, you're like, what the fuck's happening right now? But you're just going on with your business because it's like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I just need to keep performing.
I mean, there's always fights, but it's normally like I think in a period of 3 months, there was always somebody trying to get on stage with me. Like it never failed. They would like the one bar that I worked at, I was like a main feature, and I worked every single weekend at this bar. And it has like a high raised railing that goes all the way around, and it's a 360 stage. And there would always be somebody, no matter what, that has to jump on stage, but it wouldn't happen to anybody else but me. And I'm just like, I get it. I'm a Kardashian with no ass. You want to be next to me, you want to be all about me, whatever. But like they would constantly do it, and it would piss me off. And eventually my boss would just start taking the security footage from the PTZs and make a compilation of every single time I'd have broads, dudes, whomever, like just run up on stage trying to be with me. And I was like, oh my God, that's like the craziest thing to me, because like, in my mind, I'm in a bubble. I'm here, you're there. You know, I don't pop my bubble, you know, but always fails. But, you know, now I'm like a little more not as uptight, and I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. I'm like, I try to make a game out of it unless securities come and I beat the shit out of them. But I'd be like, hey, how about you try this pole move? And then I can at least embarrass them, you know, when they fall flat on their face.
Now, what's the worst you've ever seen someone get wrecked by security from coming up?
Oh my God. I mean, I've seen some shit. I've seen like guys full on like huffed and like punched in the face, thrown over their shoulder, dragged out. I mean, I've just worked so many places in the US, Australia, Canada, you know, so I do see a lot of violence, no matter where you are. I call it alcoholic muscles. You know, somebody starts drinking and then all of a sudden they think they're like Macho Man Randy Savage, and they think they can take on the bouncers, which it's quite hilarious.
See, it's funny because when I drink, I've never gotten like that. Like, and like, of course, we were always wrestlers. So a lot of times we'd go to the strip club and everybody know, like, you know, I always looked like a wrestler. I always had the size of a wrestler. And, you know, but I would get drunk and just do stupid shit. Like there was a theater here in Maryland called the Wrecker Theater. I went to see Five Finger Death Punch when they first came out. And I was more concerned with being drunk and stealing the big koi fish that they had in the front of that place than I was watching the whole damn show. And I remember because someone came around the corner and we were elbow deep in the tank, and they were like, what are you doing? We're like, we're taking the fish. And they're like, no, we need you to leave. And we're just like, okay. So we walk out with our wet sleeves and on, just go to the closest bar that was there. I forgot what it was. And of course, Matt Fisher from Scissorfest is joining us. What's up, man? We haven't seen you since the HH Pod Rumble. Of course, Ashley was there as well, and Justice's friend Janine Jericho, she was a part of that also. And you know that was a one of a kind thing that we're definitely going to do again. It worked extremely well, and
it was a good time. I enjoyed it. It was amusing. Glad to be back part of the mess again.
Yeah,
I'm slamming beers like I was last time. I had to work in the morning.
Well, I mean,
I probably was a whole lot more fun on that than I'll be today. But you know, hey, we're here. Tomorrow's the fucking party, brother.
Yeah. No, you're good, man.
Quick plug. My band's playing in the Calvert County area tomorrow. If anybody gives a fuck. We're playing in a place called the Tavern in St. Leonard. About an hour and a half, hour 45 outside of the Baltimore area.
I know where that is. I've been down that way before.
Yeah, I haven't been to this place, but we haven't played this place. But like, there's a small little, like I guess like scene or community or whatever. A lot of people, a lot of these Southern Marylander boys are like they're all in fucking bands. But if you go down to any of those shows, they all at least. They support one another. You know what I mean? like it's like every person that's there to see your band is also in a band, but you know, hey, whatever.
He's not wrong.
And
she knows what I'm talking about.
I do, because when you look at they're like, we're on tour and everything is named the Tavern.
Well, yeah. I mean, hey, listen, I don't ever fucking proclaim that we are on tour. I'd like to. But I got a fucking mortgage to pay, and that makes it a lot more difficult. Touring, at least starting touring, that's I'm 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
Like I can starve in a van with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
I can exist on like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or whatever. Like and I'm 36
hey man,
and
I
can't do
feel
it.
you. I do comedy shows at places called like Fratelli's Fine Italian Dining.
Oh fuck yeah.
Like I know what it's like.
I once wrestled in a church. I once wrestled inside of a church. So yeah. So
I know MCW did that one thing. It was outside like a Greek Catholic.
Yeah, they were in Greek town. They were in Greek town. Yeah,
that tripped me out, but it was kind of cool. Like
I stripped in a barn. It's okay.
Fuck yeah! Was there haystacks and shit around?
Oh my god, and cockroaches, and it was in Dix, Illinois.
It was in Dix, Illinois.
Dix, Illinois. They converted this barn into a club, and they didn't even have lights or a sound system.
Well, they like watching you with flat. Oh, was it daylight? They just cracked the barn door open.
You know, when we went in, it was daylight, and there was literally a church across the street that were picketing us outside.
That's great. I would imagine.
I was just like, yes. I'm like, this is exactly what I needed in my life.
I know, right? You haven't made it until you like pissed off
the Bible
holy rollers.
Come for you.
Yeah, I wish them would fucking.
Yeah, you haven't made it until you're stripping in a bar with a church across the street and they're petitioning you in a town called Dix.
it was just perfect. I was like, yep, this is it.
That's definitely
I mean, that was many years ago, but
Did any of you grow up religious at all like I did, in the sense of like I was raised evangelical and then I became Catholic, side story. But
I was the farthest thing from religious.
I think I started Catholic.
Okay.
And then I was just like, am I in a cult?
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoa. I'm like,
really?
no. I feel like if
You're
I
not
were to walk
wrong.
into a church now, I would spontaneously combust.
Well, you're not wrong, because I tried to sell my old catechism today and they wouldn't take it. They're like, not even for free. They're like, we don't want it at the bookstore. And I'm like, okay, cool. But
this
I asked,
has seen things.
Does anybody remember these guys called, oh man, was it like the Power Team or the Power Squad? It was like these roided up Christian dudes that like I think used to be athletes or wrestlers. I think they were called the Power Team, and they would go to your schools.
Are you sure it wasn't American Gladiators?
No, yeah, see, there's a huge disconnect with like American.
Oh yeah.
You know,
well,
like,
it's evangelicals. It's like the mega churches.
Canadian is so not like that.
Oh.
There's like they're Catholic and they're Roman Catholic, but there's nothing like that. They're just like.
No. Oh no, I was raised in a mega church, which is like very modern Christianity. But these men, I'm pretty sure, I will look it up later for you guys. I believe it was called the Power Team. And it was these big roided up dudes that would come to your Christian school or church. And they would rip up like phone books and break shit in the name of the Lord. And they would say that it was God.
When they ripped up phone books, like did they do that whole thing where they were strongmen and they tore them in half? Like you ever see that when like the strongmen just rip phone books in half?
Let me do this.
Need to check out a show, The Righteous Gemstones.
I love that show.
Okay, because there's a whole bunch of that shit going on in there. And they had like the buff guys for Christ in there and all that. It's a very good show.
Oh my God, all I see is like the people trying to sell water on TV.
Oh yeah. That's real. Like that's a legit thing. Like the Righteous Gemstones get that from the Power Team. That was a real thing. These guys would give testimony and be like, I used to beat my wife and killed my kids, but God gave me the strength to move past it. And then they like run into a brick wall and they're like, God did that.
Hallelujah.
Oh I just, my brain doesn't understand any of it. I just look at it like, what is happening? I love when I go to this festival every single year, and it's called Nudes of Poppin'. And the Nudes of Poppin' Festival has like hundreds of girls that will literally be at this place that is the Ponderosa Pond Club. Ponderosa Sun Club. And hundreds of girls, and like thousands of people to come watch all of us run around butt ass naked in broad daylight and perform. But on your way there, it'll have like giant billboards, like full on Bible belt. And it's like, Jesus is real. And then on the other side, it's like, hell is real, you know?
Yeah.
And I see this as I'm going to a fully nude place where there's like, everybody's naked, running around, frolicking naked. So, and I take a picture of it because it's like the funniest shit to me. And it's just like, and I'll stand in front of like the billboard and I'll just go, like, because it's so like being Canadian, that kind of stuff is so foreign to me, right? I'm just like, not that we don't have religion, my God, but
of course, yeah.
I mean, I have stripper Jesus, right? That's what I pray to. Please, stripper Jesus, make sure that whale comes in and drops at least one G on my stage. That's my prayers. That is what I'm preaching. Just like, please.
Yeah. Satan's looking out for you, boo. It ain't Jesus, it's Satan, but hell yeah.
Because it's the sin that pays the bills. So
I was gonna say Jesus saves, but Satan pays. You know what I mean? Like,
and what we're gonna do real quick, we're gonna get into our game segment a little bit early this week. We're gonna get into our Ode to Humanity segment, which starts off with Incoherent. So there's a game that we have called Incoherent. Pretty much, I'm going to show a series of cards up on the screen. They're going to be in drunken lingo. You need to try to sound them out and see what they say, and we're going to give you a couple of hints. So the first one is going to be this. What do you think that says?
Oh, I got it. I got it. Did I answer?
Hold on.
Yeah, you go ahead. Because I'm like,
one of the hints is lips on lips.
Definitely got it.
Oh. I have no clue.
Breaking the sexual tension. You got it, Maddie?
I do.
What do you think it is?
Want to make out?
Yes. And of course, Matt is carrying the fire from the HH Pod Rumble onto this episode because Matt.
That was a whole fucking thing. I was mad as shit at myself.
You got almost, you knew what almost everyone was, and then when it got to your turn,
you fucking shit the bed.
Yeah,
like,
you
straight
shit
up.
The bed hard.
I have a language barrier, so I'm like trying to look at that. Like, it took me forever to learn English, so like just looking at that, I'm like, what am I looking at?
Like, all right, well, I'm gonna do another one, and Matt and Ashley can help you. So
okay,
here we go. So here's this one right here, and what do you think that one says?
Oh, that's pretty easy.
Yeah, I think I got it already.
Basically, it's your booty. Your booty is a skin color.
A bleached asshole.
Yes.
Yeah,
there you go. There, see.
It's like lighting up a dark room. All right. Yeah, there we go. All right. So we have one more. We have one more, and then we'll get on to the other part of our game segment. All right. So let's see. Where's the last?
Also, listeners, I'm all natural.
And here we go. So what is this right here? What would you say that one is?
I see rich dumb fucks, but that's just me.
If I'm not mistaken, this is something you see a lot of in DC.
One of the hints is a high point.
I know what it is. I don't know what she's saying with the DC thing.
Well, then maybe I don't have it.
Yeah, it's not Amber Heard and Aquaman.
I can.
It's the Big Finish. What do you think, Matt?
Reach the climax.
Yes.
Oh, so you know what I thought it said? Rich diplomats.
Oh, that makes sense.
Rich dumb fucks. So I was pretty fucking close.
It's all the same thing.
Same,
all right.
Same, but different. It's okay. Only $6 more.
So with this, we're gonna play. Have you ever played Cards Against Humanity?
I have not. I think I'm that weirdo that just never has done anything
It's
like
easy.
that.
All right. So what I'm going to do is this, we do it differently on the game. Normally you get, we read off a card and you each have cards in front of you. We consider Cards Against Humanity roulette. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off a subject card, and then you're going to get an option between, let's see, how many cards do we have right here? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have an option between 1 through 6.
Okay.
Whatever you think is a lucky number that will answer that card. And then once we're done, you're going to also ad-lib that card. So the first one is, hey, honey, for the bedroom, we were thinking robin's egg blue or blank pink. What number 1 through 6 do you think is a lucky number for you?
4.
4. All right. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So your answer is, hey, honey, for the bedroom, you were thinking robin's egg blue or young Republicans pink. Do you like that, or do you want to choose a different answer? You get one rebuttal.
No, it's fine. I can go for that one.
You can go for that one. All right. So some of
Okay.
the answers that you could have had were eugenics, horny Christian teens, throw up, a fetus, or estrogen.
Oh God.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you ad-lib the card as well, which means you think of an answer off the top of your head that'll best answer that. So the card once again is, hey, honey, for the bedroom, you were thinking robin's egg blue or blank pink.
Oh my God, I don't even know which one to choose. Oh my God.
Now, I'll do one real quick. Like for mine, it would be, hey, honey, for the bedroom, you were thinking robin's egg blue or period blood pink.
Lovely.
Oh, that's a day 4 period.
Girl, I don't know what day you on when it's pink. Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, day 4. Day 2
Um,
is like gunshot victim.
Okay, then I would have
Fuck
to
yeah,
say,
bro.
I would have to say, just to help out Amber Heard, it would be busted lip pink.
Ooh, that's good.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And we're going to do another one. And this one actually has 2 answers. So, Ashley, would you want to choose a number for answer 1? And then Justice, you can choose an answer for the second one, or vice versa. So
Sure.
This one says, in a pinch, blank can be a suitable substitute for blank. In a pinch, blank can be a suitable substitute for blank. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Justice, I'm going to let you go first since you're a featured guest. What number do you want?
2.
2. All right. So 2. And Ashley, what do you say?
Let's go 6.
6. All right. So in a pinch, getting radicalized on YouTube can be a suitable substitute for jerking off to a 10-second real media clip.
That kind of works.
Are both of you satisfied with your answers, or do you want to
It's
rebut?
already a perfect thing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys satisfied with those?
Yeah, I'm all down with this incel from hell. I'm all
All
about
right.
it.
So some of the answers you could have had was log, wearing Nicolas Cage's face, a threesome with 1996 Denise Richards and 1999 Denise Richards,
Oh.
and an emergency all-floor meeting on inclusion. Now, what I'm going to do is, if you guys could choose your own answers for this. So, of course, Ashley, you choose the first number. Well, Justice, you choose the first number. Ashley, you choose the second. So you guys are going to choose your own words for this. So once again, the card is, in a pinch, blank can be suitable. It can be a suitable substitute for blank. Justice, what would you say as your word for that first one?
okay, so in a pinch, I would have to say Instagram.
All right. So in a pinch, Instagram can be a suitable substitute for blank. What do you got, Ashley?
For actually cheating on your wife. Some weird DMs, man. It's been a weird couple years.
And that's what Instagram's all about. I'm telling you.
Wait till this podcast is over.
Yeah, listeners, you know it too. Leave me
Everyone's gonna be
alone.
messaging her about her boots.
They already do. Listener, I know which one you are. Stop messaging me.
And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to get into one of our drunken rambling articles, which is our news articles. And I'm going to read the articles and then we're going to react to the story itself. So the first one is scientists detect the biggest extraterrestrial earthquake ever. So scientists have discovered that I don't know how you like. So, all right. So let's see. A magnitude 5 Mars quake was recorded last week on Mars, by far the strongest tremor ever detected off Earth. Why are we worried about earthquakes other places? A robot on Mars has detected the biggest earthquake ever felt on another planet, a Martian tremor that reached a magnitude of 5 on a Richter scale. So when I read that and I read Martian tremor, I feel like that it's a Martian named Tremor and he's reached a magnitude of
Okay,
some
I'm
point.
thinking like Dune with fucking sandworms.
Yeah, like yeah,
I
like,
fucking
like,
dig it, man. I like
Yeah.
learning all that fucking shit, man. I don't know. You get me to like, with some. Well, like I already had one, but like some edibles in me, man. I can sit around and watch like fucking like all that space fucking documentary kind of stuff, man. I can go on like deep dives down YouTube, not the conspiracy shit. None of that. I try to stay
the
as
fun
far away
shit.
from all that. Yeah, but like I don't know. I get like sucked into that shit, man.
just
Yeah.
imagine that though, like the aliens
Well,
are
they
just
came
sitting
out
on
with
Mars.
the whole thing saying that UFOs are real. Like we've only been saying it for like 20 years.
It's like, yeah, no shit. We've known this since like the 1950s.
Yeah,
Like,
something's
like
around.
the aliens are just chilling on Mars, drinking some beers, and
Laughing
then Mars
at
just
us.
starts shaking, and they're just kind of like, I don't know what the hell is happening right now. However, America will tell us. America will tell us what's happening right now.
Well, do you know what else is in the article? I've actually read that article. You know what they didn't actually put in there? If you go on, it actually tells you that the earthquake was caused by my queef.
Well, that's what you get for
Oh,
spreading
man, that-
so much
I-
and get sucking up all that air.
That
Yeah. Fire
here
in
you
the
go.
sky.
Look,
Fire in
that
the
fucking
sky
DMs.
about my pussy.
Now that you
DMs are
said
on
that, it says
fire.
as seismic waves pass through the Martian crust, mantle, and core, they bounce off or pass through various interior structures. So, yeah, there you go.
Right on there. Yeah, that's what's up. Fuck yeah. Good job.
Yeah. And Justice, of course, you've worn a lot of costumes, doing your stuff. What do you think was the
You ever
worst?
dressed as an alien?
Yeah.
My worst costume?
Yeah, like what do you think was the worst to get into? Like the most
Oh, the worst to
uncomfortable-
get into.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh my god. Okay, so for me, I'm lazy. I hate wearing costumes that have multiple pieces. So I think one of the ones that I hated the most would have actually been my Space Babe, because it was like a neck piece and armbands and fucking gauntlets and like a bra cage and panties and shorts and it was just so many pieces that it took me like 10 minutes to get ready, and I was just like, I just want to put like a sheet on and just go potato sack.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end up the NICA anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you got to go and spend like $2,000 on an outfit just so you can wear it for 3 minutes.
It's all.
Just
It's
you
all.
can say, I'm a feature.
Those like body stockings. Those like fishnet. That's where they're at. That's what's
see,
up.
me,
And that's
I-
easy.
No, but those are hard to put on because then it's like you gotta roll and roll, and it takes forever just to roll them, just so you can get your toes so they can come out like claw feet, and they're all spread like this.
Well,
and
it doesn't have to go down that far. I'm
you're
talking
like
about the
a
ones that
fucking
just the top.
raptor trying to fucking walk with them sticking out over your shoes. It's like
Girl, I'm right there with you. These men don't understand. It's hard to
exactly.
be a
It
woman.
looks
You know
all
what
good,
I
so you
look
gotta
like?
get in it.
When I wear those, I look like a bag of citrus you got from the grocery store.
Fuck yeah.
Orange is still sweet, though.
I think mine, I haven't had many, but of course with pro wrestling, we do a lot of weird stuff. And we did a show at a high school, and it was a charity for a girls softball team. And at the time I was doing my comedy gimmick. We were evil villains and we were the Legion of Ungood, and it was a comedy gimmick, and I wore a mask and my name was Gold Thumb. So my gimmick was, I was like, all right, well, I want to do a spot in the match where my partner acts like he's throwing a baseball. I hit it. I hit all 3 corners. And in the 4th corner, I dive in and do a drop kick to the guy's balls. And they're like, okay. And then I'm looking around the locker room area and I see all the
real sophisticated shit.
Softball uniforms. And I'm like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. So I handed them to a guy. I'm like, put this under the ring. And they're like, okay. So I go out, and when I go to do it, I go underneath the ring, pull out, I put on the hat over my mask, put on the jersey over, my singlet top, and I go to put on the girl's skirt, but it was like a super small skirt. So like I'm fighting this thing and it just like explodes open as I go to do the swing motion. And so that was one. And then the other, of course, unfortunately, Matt and Tom Nutty aren't here. So they're going to miss out on a segment that we haven't done in a long time called Burn Photo. So
hell yeah.
The other one that I had, and there's a backstory with this, is this photo right here. So that was me. No, not right there. Hold on. Let me.
Oh, no, yeah. Go back to the.
That's Matt with his llama. There we go. But no, this right here. What this was is this was during Happy Hour TV when we still had the TV show, and that was my old co-host Dan, and both of those costumes was his like 100-pound soaking wet wife's costumes, and we went to Collector's Corner's free comic book day dressed as Batgirl and Supergirl, and I didn't wear anything under that.
All I see is a picture of a llama.
Yeah, I've never seen so many mortified people. Is it still the llama that's up there?
Yeah.
You were free balling.
Yeah, I thought like, yeah, that's all. I still see the llama picture.
Yeah, I see the llama.
Hold on.
I thought you got shy on us.
That one right there. Is that it right there?
Yeah.
There you go. There we go.
But no, so it was this photo right here. And I never seen so many damaged and broken children in my entire life, because we were walking around going, hey, I'm Supergirl, hey, I'm Batgirl, and yeah, there were just so many damaged.
So I'm gonna go ahead and burn you right off the top. I'm gonna call you two Super Girth and Fat Girl.
What do you say, Matt?
Can't handle that midriff, son. They can't handle that midriff, son. Like, what the fuck is that? That's all I can think of. I mean, I don't know, man.
And what's funny?
Pretty fucking hot.
At the bottom, like where like the leg things were, like I literally like had to roll those because I have like gigantic calves. Like I have like 19-inch calves. So like those things.
Oh, he knows measurements and everything.
As I was pulling those up onto my calves, and yeah, so there were a lot of damaged, broken children that day, and yeah, so that's the first burn photo we've had in a while on the show, because I came across that, and when I was thinking about the costume thing. Now, what about what's the favorite costume? Like, do you have like any favorite costume or anything like that you've
see, I get sick of my shit after a while, because I feel like it becomes redundant, it's overdone. Then I start seeing the girls in the same outfit as me, and I'm just like, okay, that's enough. So I always get rid of them and sell them to other girls and then create a new one. So the new one will end up being my favorite for about a year, and then I'll just be like, peace. So right now, my mermaid is my favorite. Only because I get to go and sing on stage and sing about butt plugs and dildos and cock rings. And I mean, if you may have seen the video I posted just recently on Facebook. So that one's my favorite right now, only because I get to be silly. Right. And right now nobody's doing anything like that. So it's my favorite until I get sick of it.
You got to always strive to be different, and that's the thing.
Right.
Because once you do it enough times, and even Ashley knows with comedy, once you do the same show so many times, Matt, and me, even with wrestling, once you do the same thing so many times, like my finish was a pile driver. If I went out and did the pile driver every single match I wrestled, it wouldn't make it special anymore. So
exactly.
It's like, okay, think of a different finish, and then finally when you hit that, crowd will go nuts, because they're like, oh man, hey, his last 5 matches he hasn't done this, now he's doing it.
Sometimes
Oh.
after shows, I'll look in the mirror and be like, I really hope I don't live to see another show. But also, Bill, you're going to go from mermaid to merlaid. Wah, wah, wah. Get that fishy pussy. Also, Ray, your picture. I can't stop thinking about that shitty picture. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a white whale. You fat bitch. Okay, sorry.
Nice.
I was gonna say beluga because it's more lumpy, but
you know
You know what I love is a fatty calling other people fat.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. And actually, you know, Laugh Finder Pod, that's all we do on their show is we just roast the hell out of each other. And I'm super proud because the last time I was on, I actually won a couple of games, and I was like, okay, I'm getting better at this.
I'm just mean.
So, and when
but
you
yeah,
were
like other
talking about,
women. Yeah. So I'm like, Justice, I love you. Boys, I'm like, oh, you fat piece of shit.
That's right.
When you were talking about looking in the mirror and saying, I hope I don't live to see another show, it reminded me of our other Drunken Ramblings article, which is a 22-year-old shot his mother on Mother's Day over an argument about an Xbox controller. So,
oh my God,
this happened in Wayne County, Kentucky. A 22-year-old man has been arrested for allegedly shooting his mother on Mother's Day, according to law enforcement in Kentucky. The Wayne County Sheriff's Office says Jacob R. Small, Jacob R. Small admitted that he and his mother had gotten into an argument over a gift he had given her. Small reported that he had given his mother an Xbox controller as a Mother's Day gift, and the gift reportedly led to a verbal dispute. And
gifting it for yourself.
So a couple things. One, Ray, I think I understand why you're getting emails from crazy people about guns.
And ramblings.
There's a lot to unpack here.
Technically, though, if you shoot her and she dies, she is technically an Xbox.
Oh, wow. I mean, yeah.
Also, why would you give your mother an Xbox controller?
Well, maybe he wanted to bond with his mom.
Yeah.
He was a fucking. Wasn't there a fucking episode of Simpsons?
Games with me, so we're cool. So.
Oh well, that makes sense.
It says deputies said they were called around 8:30 p.m. on Sunday. A report of a person suffering a gunshot wound. At the same time, police said they received a separate call telling them the shooting suspect was waiting for authorities at a neighbor's house. According to the sheriff's office, as Small's mother and another woman were leaving Small's residence, Small fired into their vehicle using a .22 caliber rifle, hitting his mother. What the fuck? The mother was treated. Well, I don't understand. Small has been charged with attempted murder. And okay, now, here's the thing. I want to know why the Xbox controller was a problem. Like, I don't like what made it to the point to where he gives her the Xbox controller. Like, did she sit there and open the gift and go, I'm totally gonna beat your ass in Call of Duty? And he's just like, you're gonna Call of Duty this now, bitch. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess she was just ungrateful and he snapped. But here's what you do: you wait till Father's Day, which is coming up, and then you get him a football and be like, "Oh, you can throw it with your father." Oh, wait, you don't got one.
Out.
I mean, that's I don't know, and that's the first time I read it. I read the title and I was like, there's going to be a lot of to unpack with this. And,
yeah, thanks, Ray. You bummed us all out.
You know what? Shout out to Weird Guy who emailed me about I did not know that it was going to take that turn in an article. I just read it because there was one that we had on the show where this guy met up with this chick and they took meth and they had sex and she skinned him and cut his head off and murdered him on a meth crazed binge. And
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, what?
What? He's like, I wonder if she's single.
Yeah,
right. She's probably throwing some.
I mean, that puts a whole new meeting to Grinder.
And I mean, that's the thing. Was she making short jokes towards him since his last name was Small? She's like, I don't know, this controller is a little small. I'm not sure if this will
I'll say
lose
maybe
a job
short
just-
was not the only issue she had with
Yeah,
it. But no,
yeah.
it's her son. So yeah, maybe he's just a little bitch. So if you're listening to our podcast, we want a piece. Try and shoot us.
Like I really though, like what sits there, like he sits there, I guarantee you he was at Target. He's probably a loser, he's at Target, and he sits there and he looks, he's like, oh shit, Mother's Day's coming up. What can I get mom? That's it. I got it. I'm not gonna do roses, I'm not gonna do chocolates, I'm not gonna do any of this stuff. This Xbox controller right here, the Halo limited edition Xbox controller. I'm gonna buy this. This is gonna be it. And it's gonna be amazing. You know,
About your
This is why I'm
mom.
single.
But
Yeah.
see, when you get gifts that you can use too, it's a win-win. So he's being smart, right? And then she should have looked at it like, oh, bonding time. And then he's like, yes, my friends can play too when she's not using it because she'll never use it, right?
There you go. Exactly.
Well, see, this
Maybe he was
is
just really smart.
yeah.
It's like
Sure,
buying
I
a
mean,
bowling
Grateful.
ball.
And
It's like
then
buying a
she,
bowling ball for your old lady and you don't go bowling. I mean, she doesn't go bowling. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Right.
Kinda
it's
like that.
exactly
But
right.
you can use it and be like, oh, but sweetie, I thought that we could go bowling together.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, you know how this went. You know how this went down, right? He comes home and he's like, I got you an Xbox controller and I also bought a gun.
I bought you an Xbox controller. Meanwhile, he's loading a musket rifle. He drops the musket in with powder and like the little scope, and he's just, and she's like, "Is that a musket gun?" Yes, I'm gonna be a Civil War real.
Like drop the
Watch,
powder
yes.
in.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Could you imagine, like? Imagine and of course, I had this weird crazy guy that talked about mass way back in the day. They need to go back to like musket guns. That shit ain't happening with a musket gun. Like, just imagine that. Like, you have to sit there, like, it would take you 37 minutes to reload the gun. Like, that's just
So, Ray, what are you talking about with this crazy email? Like,
before we came on, there was this guy that I got that emailed me before you came in. He emailed the podcast thing, and he's like, I understand that you guys are interested in active shooter / mass shooter, training or whatever and all that, like, counter defense training. And I'm just reading this, and like, it's getting worse and worse and worse as it goes on. I'm just kind of like, and he's like, based off of an episode I watched, and I was like, what episode did you watch? And I'm sitting there trying to like put it together of, we don't talk about any of this kind of stuff. And then he directed us to like a website for like another random murder podcast. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know. The dude was a couple like Happy Meals short. And
then you end up on how it really happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
you know what Justice and I also call a bukkake is a mass shooting.
Well, I mean, Steel Panther did a whole song on bukkake tears, so and I would know.
You know what? I think what it was,
Outstanding.
maybe that email was that kid with the Xbox controller from prison.
Maybe.
And what he's gonna do, that's gonna be his calling card. Like, you ever see like how like someone breaks into your house, kind of like Home Alone, the wet bandits, they left, their calling card of flooding the sinks. His calling card is he leaves an Xbox controller, and you just go into your house, and when you see the Xbox controller, you're like, oh no, it's gonna happen. He's coming back tonight, and it's gonna be it.
I also love the idea of like an incel like telling people he's like some sort of police officer and do like these training sessions, and people show up and he's like, yeah, I have like over 800 hours of experience with Call of Duty, and you all sit in front of a
he's
computer.
Totally
and
one of those people that like lures you out to his like farm so he can hunt you, because that's the big game is people. Right? After that movie, that's what that is.
It's Island of Dr. Moreau.
He hunting rabbits. He hunting people.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you how you fire this gun. Run now, motherfucker.
Man is the most dangerous animal.
1, 2, I'm coming for you.
Yeah. He just sits there and he's just like, get in that dog cage, and it's just like, what? He's like, get in the fucking dog cage, and it's just like,
I'm sorry, Ray. Are you channeling my father?
And when he's telling you to get in a dog cage, he doesn't even have a gun. He has one of those dicks on a sawzall. And he's like, I'm telling you, get in the fucking dog cage right now.
Stop tempting me, Ray. I don't have enough towels.
Fuck yeah.
And Justice, of course, you know, you've done a lot of shows. What kind of injuries have you gotten from performing on stage?
I might as well just be like Franken bitch because I've literally torn everything. I tore my right rotator. I tore my hamstring. I've herniated my back. I've dislocated my hip. I've broken toes. I broke my nose. My wrist has been broken, and it's all from stage. I used to be super, super crazy. Like now I'm old, so I don't do as much because, you know, I got to pay for that shit down the road. So like now I'm just like, okay. But yeah, no, everything's been like Franken patched. So.
I know you've been in a lot of clubs. We used to have an exclusive partnership with Larry Flint's Hustler Club when we did our old TV show years ago. And we were there one night, and I remember they had a pole. They have a pole that goes all the way up to the ceiling.
Yeah, they're like 25 foot.
Yeah,
poles.
And there was a girl that scaled it. She went all the way up the pole. Yeah. We forgot she was there. She was gone for like 30 minutes. I'm like, what's she doing up there? Like she like disappeared into the abyss, like some sort of like stripper cloud. And like next thing you know, you just see her body just fall like 5 feet away from the pole, and she hits.
Oh Jesus!
And everybody's like, oh my God. And we're just sitting there. And I'm like, what? Like, I understand if she fell, but how did she get like 5 feet over? Like she was on the pole and like she fell. And like,
I think I saw a video of that. And that girl actually like broke her jaw and she had to have it wired shut. And then she had other injuries too. Yeah. I mean, that was circulating all over the internet, but yeah.
I know which one you're talking about. Ugh.
Yeah, because nowadays, like if you injure yourself, and especially like the older you get, it's like you can't afford to have that much time off. Like if you're off 6 to 8 weeks, you're like screwed in most cases now, especially like after coming back from like the corona. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah. Well, that's why like it's crazy because, you know, if someone were to ask me, hey, can you do a wrestling show? And I do it tomorrow. Like I would do it and I would feel so much like shit that next couple of weeks. And I'd sit there and be like, how did I do this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday every weekend in a whole month when I was younger? And, you know, and I can relate. My ankles are bad. My knees are bad. I have bad shoulders. I've had five concussions that I know of. So, you know, it's the whole thing that it takes a toll. And now, you know, I sit here and I'm like 37 and I'm just kind of like, man, I wish I could go out and wrestle. Like I wake up every day thinking about it. But it's the whole thing of, I know I can't do that right now because if I get dropped on my head and break my neck, I lose everything that I have. So
exactly. So now it's just like you play smart, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm like I've done it all. I don't have anybody to impress anymore. So I'm like, now I'm playing it smart. I'm gonna just focus on my bookings and doing well and cashing in while I still can, you know.
Yeah. So. It's all you can do. Like it's like my back's fucked up. I was out of work for about like 2 years ago, for like about 5 months, and I had a herniated disc sitting on my sciatic nerve. So
he was using the dick saw. That's what it was. Like
no, I don't know what happened, man. I woke up one morning, my shit was fucked up. I mean, I've been doing like jobs that involve manual labor and all that shit for most of my life, and I'm a fat fuck, so I'm thinking it's probably a combination of those two things. But I mean, you know, like I do the shows and shit, man, and I gotta watch. Like I used
too hard.
No, screaming's fine. It's just all the other shit, man. Like normally I want to like back in the day, I'd do a couple fucking shots of Jaeger and go get the shit kicked out of me in the pit, you know, all night and have a blast. And every once in a while, you know, that kind of the younger me comes out, and then I'm fucking paying for that shit, man. Like, we played with fucking Open for Terror like a couple weeks ago, and I only had 20 minutes, so it was like my fat ass was going off right? Jumping all over the fucking place and shit. My back was fucking jacked up for like 2 days afterwards. It's like, God damn, you old fat fucking piece of shit. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, you know, and then you go home and watch like TV and stuff. And like, you know, there's like
and people are walking, and you're like, oh, that's what it's
and
like.
then motherfuckers are like 60 and they're like, oh, fucking in good shape.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, I just got to get my shit together. That's like,
No,
really what
I mean,
it is.
I understand when you have like an injury or a disability, like my God, for like the last 15 years, it's so hard for me to walk around all the time with this fat fucking puss.
Weighs it down.
Yeah, with the memes with that, it was like showed like irritated kneecaps. Like I my favorite one was like my knees after carrying around this juicy ball sack all day. Like,
I almost said my back hurts all the time from carrying all the fucking podcasts I'm on.
My back hurts from looking at my burn photo when I was like 60 pounds heavier than what I am right now. My back instantly hurts.
Sorry,
Oh,
all I got is my back hurts because I got to carry 10 pounds extra right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bing bong bibbity
Yes.
boobity
We
girl.
would never know that. We would never ever know anything about that. And what
okay, Sugar Ray
bless you.
Leonard.
Well, it's like if you try to like go this way or try to touch your toes, you're gonna smother yourself. So
God bless.
you can't
And,
run.
what I'm gonna
knock yourself out.
What I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to get into our current featured beer, which is Stella Artois Midnight Blend. So we introduced it last week, and this is the end of it, limited edition. Make sure go out and pick it up. Stella Artois Midnight Blend, and then of course I'm going to get into our featured shot, which I'm hoping ends soon because it's terrible and I fucking hate it. It's 10 High Sour Mash Whiskey. So nothing can be as luxurious as the Metallica blackened whiskey that we had a couple of months ago, which was delicious. So make sure
everybody's got a booze anymore. Cheers, asshole.
So
It's
Ten
just
High doesn't
swimming.
have social media, so I'll say that their whiskey sucks because I don't even feel like they really even have like. I feel like somebody else makes them, and yeah. So
Well, that would be like the best sponsorship moment. Is be like brought to you by shit whiskey. The worst
Your whiskey
product
fuck.
we've ever had on.
Yeah, like enough with like the positive review videos. Let's just go and get stuff and just fucking like get the cheap, all that garbage vodka and like whiskey that's like bottom shelf.
You know,
like
they have like those boxes that you like open, like what is it, a loot crate? Do they have like an alcohol loot crate? Like, is there?
That'd be pretty dope.
That would be kind of cool.
But there's too many laws on fucking shipping.
Like you open it up and it's like it's just called the Killer, and it has like all this liquor that will probably kill you in 3 sips.
Yeah,
like, oh, okay.
I had an app for a while where you could get certain beers every month from like all over the country. And it was only
I ordered something like that for my wife's uncle for Christmas.
It was really expensive. Like if I wasn't so fucking poor, I would have kept it. Like it was cool. No, it was cool while I had it, but like between what you're paying for each beer, it can depend on the price from each distributor, plus paying for shipping on it all together.
The shipping's expensive as fuck.
It adds up, which was crazy. So now,
and of course, Justice, what all do you have coming up? We're gonna let you get out of here momentarily. I know you have a show tonight you need to get ready for, but what all do you have coming up, and where can everybody find you?
Well, next weekend I'm in San Diego at Expose. The following weekend I'm in St. Louis, Missouri at Scarlett's, and then the following weekend I am in Rick's Cabaret in Pittsburgh.
Oh wow! So you're getting around, like that's a lot.
I am, yeah, and that's just June, and then it goes on. Like I'm booked all the way up until like January.
Oh, fucking awesome! Good for you.
It's good to have. I mean, that's the thing. Like everybody, like they try to like everybody's weird. They're like, oh well, your show, like your book, so like we're booked in August, and I'm just kind of like, hey, it makes it easy instead of at the last minute.
Yeah, I
like
booked 3 to 6 months out. So
that's good stuff. And of course, where can everybody find you online if they want to find you online?
Well, I have Instagram. It's Justice JUSTICE _Jardin JARDIN. It's garden in French. So super easy to find. And if you can't find me through there, just Google Justice That Entertainer and you'll find me. I'm Googleable. Google me, bitch.
Well,
And what we're going to do, we're going to let you go ahead and get out of here. Next week, we will be back again, once again, here on YouTube Live next Friday, 8 p.m. Live stream starts at 7:30. Of course, our featured guest, it is actually the conclusion of season 2 of the Happy Hour podcast. We enter season 3 of the following week, which is our 3rd year. So everybody, thank you for all the support we've gotten over the last 2 years for the Happy Hour podcast.
Okay,
a
bro.
lot of great, amazing friends along the way, some of which are here tonight, Ashley and Matt. So, we've done all kinds of fun stuff. So, and our featured guest next week is actually a returning guest. They haven't been on the show in about 2 years. Was one of the first guests we've ever had on the show, which is adult film star Karen Fisher. She will be returning to the show next week to conclude season 3, and that will be at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube Live. Live stream kicks off at 7:30. Make sure you head over to www.hhpod.com. That's where all of our merchandise is. And also make sure you hit subscribe right there at the bottom of the screen and subscribe right here to YouTube and interact with us every week. All of our stuff, YouTube has been killing it. Not a couple weeks ago, we had 11,000 views in a 1 month time. So, things are getting better. And we appreciate it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and wrap up our live stream right here on YouTube Live. And Justice, can you hang out for 1 second afterwards?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Guys, thank you for tuning into the Happy Hour podcast. Of course, I'm Ray, for Matt, for Ashley, and of course, for our featured guest, Justice Jardin. This is